What's up, guys? Welcome back. So we're done with the T4 guides, guys. No more T4 videos for me. And now instead we're going to jump into T5. Now I just recorded this video and it was 38 minutes long and I forgot that I was zoomed in the whole time. So now I'm re-recording it and I'm going to make it a lot shorter because I ramble on too much like I'm doing right now. So let's go ahead and skip right to it and let's go over some T5 shit, boys. So let's get into it. TBC Classic Warlock P2 Gearing Guide, also known as Tier 5. We will start with this one and then we'll go to BiS guides after this. I'll do a Warlock Taking Guide soon. Couple days, all that good jazz stuff. Okay, so simply we're gonna do what we did last time. I'm gonna show you the new pieces. I'm gonna tell you what's BiS for your spec. I'm gonna tell you what you can use in the meantime, and we're gonna keep on pushing from there. Okay, let's get started. First off, gyms. I'm not gonna list the gyms because nothing changed. Okay, your meta gym is still chaotic. You use the blue socket for Night's Eye and just use these gyms. If you don't see a gym here, pretty much don't use it. I know there's a couple other gyms that you can use, but these are the only gyms you'll ever see on my character. Pause it if you want to see this. Next up, consumables. Once again, pause this if you want to see it. I'm not going to go over each one. I will just say one thing I do want to say though. The Destro Pot between Destro Pot and Mana Potion is in T5 content right now. I am pretty much spamming Mana Potions. I'm using Destro Potions on trash. I'm using Mana Potions on bosses for most of them. That's I'll let you know if that changes. Obviously, real quick right here, I go over a lot of logs where people are using the wrong flask or they're using the haste potions instead of the Destro Potions or the Mana Potions. Those haste potions are melee haste. Don't worry about them. Make sure Felguard, you're using Kibbles bits, you're using scrolls, your fire, you're using flame caps, yada, yada, yada. Guys, tier 5. Let's talk about it. The hood, which is actually a viable piece, which could be BiS. This is BiS if you're not engineering, which we'll go over in a little bit. But the hood off of Lady Vash, pretty good. With the legs off of Fathom Lord, pretty good too. On par with Spell Strike. Now we have the robes for KT, garbage. And we have the mantle from Void River, garbage. And then we have the gloves from Leothere's, garbage. And then we have the set bonuses. The 2 set causes your pet to be healed for 15% of the damage you deal. Now, this is absolutely trash for every spec in the game, except for maybe Felguard. I'm thinking some Felguard shenanigans. At first glance, I want to say no. But at second glance, I want to say that in a BiS setup, we'll get to it in a minute, you're wearing Engineering Helmet and Spell Strike, TLDR. Now, this compared to Spell Strike and this compared to Engineering is like minimal DPS. So what I haven't tested it yet, which is why I don't want to completely exclude this from the conversation. I will say that I will test this as Felguard running T5 Helm and legs, T5 Helm and legs to get that be healed for 50% of the damage for your pet. This is big on your healers. You guys, anybody who's ran Felguard knows how much your Felguard gets hit. That might kind of help. Sim wise, it loses out to my current setup, but I don't know if it's counting for the 50% damage that your pet is getting healed in the Sims, because how is it assuming your pet's taking damage, right? So this actually might, I'm not going to exclude it completely, but so keep that option open for Felguard. Other than Felguard, you're not having any of these. They're all garbage, bro. Just get rid of it. Just don't even think about it, right? You don't even need, you're like the 4 set ass. Shadow Bolt spells increase the damage to corruption. Your Incinerate does it to immolate. Now, we got to wait to see if this is done on base damage or total damage. If it's base damage, then it's garbage. If it's total damage, it's actually really good. However, I don't think it's going to be good. I don't think it's going to be on total damage anyway. And on top of that, remember, this is all mage and hunters. Okay, onto the head right away, guys. We have 2 new helmets. One is the engineering helmet. It's called the Destruction Hollow Gogs. They both have a meta and a blue. And then the engineering goggles have 64 spell damage and 29 crit, while the T5 helmet is 55 and 31. So you see how different, see how close it is. They're really close, right? So engineering is going to be your best in slot goggles. If you are engineering, which I will do a professions video, but just to make it kind of quick on this real quick, for professions, you have tailoring if you're fire and frozen shadowy boots, right? So if you're tailoring, if you're fire, you still need tailoring. If you're full shadow, you actually don't need tailoring. You can get boots of foretelling and not have to use frozen shadowy boots anymore. Now, the other option is engineering, which I actually am an advocate for because one, the goggles, not because of the goggles, but the goggles are a nice little boost, right? But bombs. Sappers aren't that important for Warlocks because I don't want to have to run in there and put a sapper, but arcane bombs, I'll run in there and put an arcane bomb because that silences, that does a lot, and it does a lot more damage than you think. It scales with your gear, yada, 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 your cooldowns. It's really nice. It's nicer than what people think. So I always suggest tailoring, engineering, and enchanting as always, okay? Anyway, if you're engineering, these are your best in slot helm. If you're not engineering, this is your best in slot. Now, the problem is this is mage and hunter tier, so you will be a long time before every single one of your hunters and your mages will have this before you. So in the meantime, just use Voidheart Crown. This is you will still want to. So I should have mentioned this in a slide, I guess, but T4. So as Fire Destro, you still want your T4 2-piece, which in this case is Voidheart Crown. Is Helm and Shoulders, right? And if you're Shadow, if you're any other spec, Shadow, Felguard, DN, anything, Affliction, you have 4 set T4 on, right? All of them, but you have the Helm, Shoulders, Chest, and Gloves, right? And you're excluding the legs. So you're pretty much going to just wear Voidheart Crown until you can either craft your engineering goggles or you get your T5 helmet. That's all simple. Now, for the Cowl, the Grand Engineer, this is actually a really good 53 spell damage, 35 crit, and 16 hit with 3 sockets. The issue is there's no meta socket, and that meta's pretty big. So this is a good, if you get this, you probably won't wear it because you should still be wearing T4. To be honest, you should be wearing T4 2-piece at this point, or 4-piece if you're in any of the other specs. So I kind of wouldn't even worry about this, but it is a nice little boost until you can get something good. As for next, you got one neck, the only neck that matters for every single spec in the game. Sun King's Talisman off of Kel'Thas and TK's last boss in TK, 22 stamina, 16 int, 24 crit rating, and 41 spell damage. This is your best in slot neck. It's the only one you need to worry about. In the meantime, you have these 3 necks, right? This is your, I mean, if in the meantime, this is what every goddamn spec wants. Just use whichever one you have in the meantime, bro. You got Adornment of Souls if you need crit. You got Brooch if you need hit, and you have Ritson if you want to be just a full Shadow Boy. If you're like, you know, UA or something, I would suggest that you can use that. But other than that, I wouldn't be using this if you're SM Ruin, even only if you're UA. Shoulders, guys, nothing changed on shoulders. I'll show both of them. You have your T4 shoulders and your T5 shoulders. Look at the difference in T4 and T5. T5 shoulders is 4 more spell damage and 4 more crit rating, or 4 more hit rating. It's garbage. It's literally trash. Not only is it trash, but you need this on the whole time for phase 2, because this will be your connecting piece for 2-piece, right? This will be your connecting piece for 2-piece for each spec. So just we're gonna skip the section. Just keep the T4 on. Okay, on the cloaks. So it's pretty simple here, cloaks. The only one new cloak here is the Royal Cloak of the Sunstriders off of Kel'Thas, last boss in TK. It's just straight 44 spell damage. I don't suggest anybody use this cloak unless you're just a straight, maybe like a UA Affliction Warlock. You could use it. I wouldn't use it as SM Ruin either. I think it's actually garbage as SM Ruin, because SM Ruin, you're still trying to crit a lot. Crit. Like, why would you use that, right? So when it comes to, I would say maybe Deep Affliction, that's the only time I'd use this. Other than that, use whatever one you have. This is obviously a really good cloak. It's from a world boss. A lot of us won't be able to get this, so you can discard it and just use your hit cloak if you need hit, and your crit cloak if you need crit, and that's all. So big change for chest is a absolutely massive chest off of Lady Vag and SSC, which is the last boss in SSC. Probably going to be the hardest boss in T5, I hope. It better be. God damn it. 28 stam, 28 int, 3 sockets, 5 spell damage on the socket bonus, 27 hit rating, 31 crit rating, and 57 spell damage. These are broken ass vests. You want to wear these. So what it looks like, everybody wants these, but not everybody's going to get them. I have killed Lady Vash over 100 times probably in my lifetime, and I feel like I've seen 2 of these drop, right? So this is BiS for every spec of a Warlock. In the meantime, if you're fire, use spell. So if you're fire, use spell fire until you get this. And if you're any other spec besides fire, use void hard until you get vestments. Easy. As for T5 robe, I just want to put it here so you can see it. 48 stamina, 33 int, 3 sockets, 23 hit, and 55 spell damage. It's not that good. So I just wanted to show you it just to bring it up, but don't worry about it. On our bracers, we actually do get new bracers, 2 new bracers to be exact. Your best in slot bracers for every spec of Warlock is a LAR, TK, first boss in TK, drops Mindstorm bands, little int, little stam, 23 crit rating, and 36 spell damage. These are BiS. Now, in the meantime, let's get rid of those bracers of Havoc finally, or those general silk gloves, right? What veteran silk gloves? These are season 2 bracers. A little bit of stam, a little bit of int, socket with 2 spell damage on the socket, 14 crit, 13 res, and 22 spell damage for only about 12,000 honor and 20 more Song March. Do what I do. Already have these ready to go for season 2. Phase 2 launches. You go buy these, you go socket them, you enchant them with you enchant them with spell damage, sorry, and you go to your raid, and then you wear these until you can get these to drop for you. Simple enough. Next up, gloves. All right, gloves. Surprise, nothing changed. Shocker. To put this simply, there's a little bit of theory crafting going to the gloves, but I'm just going to leave that to the Warlock Discord, and if you guys want to be in part of that, please join the Warlock Discord, okay? I'm going to keep it nice and simple. If you're Fire Destro, you'll be Spellfire Gloves as your BiS. That's it. And if you're not Fire Destro, Void Heart Gloves are your BiS. And in no situation would I run any other gloves, pretty much. I will say that I've ran sims on the comparison of maybe having to run Anger Spark gloves if you're not, hell, yeah, I wouldn't do it. I know there's talks on Discord of running like a possibility of having to run, like, you have your Engineer T5 helmet, and then you have your T4 shoulders and then T4 gloves to connect your T4 bonus, your T4 2-piece. But then you can also use chest, T4 for fire until you get vestment. There's so many things that you can do. So that's why I'm going to more like leave it alone and let you guys figure that shit out with the Discord. I know that I ran sims. My sims, Fire Destro at the end of it was running Spellfire Gloves. So on the belt, we have Belt of Blasting. This is a new belt. There's a couple new belts, but this is the main belt that comes. This is the BiS belt. The BiS main belt comes from tailoring BOE pattern that drops in the trash and all throughout T5. The bind and equip item. This means like for this example of this, a pattern drops, I get it, and then I make the belt for everybody in the raid, you know, as we get the stuff to be able to craft it. So in the meantime, you already have Girdle of Ruination, right? Or Spellfire Belt if you're fire. So I would drop, I would drop both for Chord of Screaming Terrors only while you're waiting to get Belted Blasting. This is your BiS for every spec. Just you want this. In the meantime, fucking rock Girdle, rock Girdle, rock Spellfire, rock Horde, rock whatever you want to get Belted Blasting. This is all that matters, okay? Legs. Okay, nothing really changed here on legs at all either. So once again, Doom Lord Kazakh legs are fucking amazing. If you got them, you know, touche. It's a world boss, and many of us won't have it, so we're not going to talk about it. Now, it boils down to Spell Strike or Leggings of the Corruptor. As you can see, T5 legs actually have a little bit more spell power. You know, 2 more hit, 6 more crit. So 9 spell power, 2 hit, 6 crit, minus 2 sockets. You see how fucking close they are? They're so close. I will say, all my sims say Spell Strike, but I will say, between Spell Strike and T5, that as Felguard, this is what I was talking about with the Felguard earlier, is if you run T5, I'm thinking of trying T5 Helm whenever I can get it, right? And then T5 Pants, because both are heavy stamina, which with Demonic Knowledge, that kind of goes that weird circle. And then plus I get the 2 set. So once again, I've not been able to try that. I've just been able to sim it, and I don't know if the sims are correct on it, but everything's coming out Spell Strike right now, so just run Spell Strike. And plus, like, it's going to be a long time before you get this, so the argument is moot. Boots. You finally get some new boots, guys. It's called Boots of Blasting. Now, about these sexy-ass Boots of Blasting. A little bit of stam, a little bit of intellect, 18 hit, 25 crit, 39 spell power. These are your BiS boots if you're a Fire Destro. If you're actually, you know what? So the thing about these boots are, for Fire Destro, obviously they're BiS, hands down. For Shadow Destro, I like Frozen Shadow Wave. I like Frozen Shadow Wave boots. It could be just old private server boomer brain of mine, and trying to not adapt to the new metas, but I just really like Frozen Shadowy boots. Like I have a little more spell power. I'm losing hit and crit and get 2 sockets. I know what I do suggest, and I'll make a video about this soon, is a couple days, is I don't think anybody should be Fire or Shadow. I think everybody should be both. Assuming that you're rated as a Fire Mage and a Shadow Priest. I think you guys should be able to openly free switch between both. That is a different enchant on your weapon, which means running 40 spell power on weapon, or having another T4 weapon, or Blade of Wizardry or something like that. Dropping Frozen Shadow Wave, using Boots of Foretelling until you can get Boots of Blasting. All specs using Boots of Foretelling. Oh, I don't have Boots of Foretelling up here. Boots of Foretelling instead of Boots of Blasting, right? And then you have your spec into Spellfire. So you keep your Spellfire on you for when you need your Spellfire. And then whenever you do have to go Shadow, which is a lot because all the trash is Shadow. You know, there's some Shadow bosses. There's a few bosses that you're going to want to be Shadow on. It's just so easy to switch in between, right? So I'd go Boots of Foretelling into Boots of Blasting, really. And then drop Shadow. Drop Shadow Wave, pick up Spellfire, and keep Spellfire on you full time. Yeah, so TODR, Boots of Blasting or BiS. Okay, on the next one, rings. Now, rings are, there's 2 new rings. Ring of the Endless Coils, which is off of Lady Vash, last boss in SSC, 22 crit rating, and 37 spell power. And then you have Band of Eternity, which is 21 crit rating, and 29 spell power. These are the 2 new rings. Now, this one comes from Lady Vash, last boss. This is actually a Mount Hydra ring. However, you get it from turning in the Mount Hydra attunement quest, okay? Now, if you look in comparison to Ring of Recurrence, these are old rings, so nothing new. But if you look in comparison to Ring of Recurrence, look at the difference. Ring of Recurrence has 3 spell power. Band of Eternity has 2 crit. So you can see Ring of Recurrence pulls ahead by a DPS or 2, which is fine. However, I'm using Band of Eternity because, one, if you use Band of Eternity, you upgrade. So this is an upgradable ring by rep, just like the Karazhan ring, but better because the last phase of this ring is a proc buff. It's like fucking huge. It's really nice. I like it a lot. So this is going to be on me as I walk through the portal in the instance to go into Mount Hydra. I kill a few mobs. 30 minutes later, if that, this ring is getting upgraded. So I'm just going to have it on me, walk outside, you upgrade it right out front of Mount Hydra, walk out, upgrade it, and then it's already better. So, but either or, you can run this. Obviously, it's better right now, so just don't even worry about it. But you have these 2 crit rings, and you have these hit rings. If you need crit, boom. If you need hit, boom. Run your hit rings. Simple enough. Trinkets. So nothing at all changed trinkets, so I'm not going to waste time here. Icons and Quags are best in slot for every spec that you have right now. Use Mark of the Champion on anything demon and undead. There's not a lot of demons and undead. I think what Leothair says is a demon, but you're not going to waste all the damage for the fight just for those little parts of him being a demon. Maybe Warlock tanking can get some value out of this. I'm not sure about that yet. I don't have it, so I'm not going to know. And then obviously you have Scryers and Arcanists if you ever need your tanking, or if you're ever not with the Elemental Shaman, you just slap one of these on and you're good to go. The new trinket is Sextant of Unstable Occurrence. This is a 20 or 40 spell critical strike rating, and then your spell critical strikes have a chance to increase your spell damage by 190 for 15 seconds. It is a good trinket, but it's not as good as Icon or Quag, so just disregard it. As for weapons, we got AT, the Great Staff of the Guardian. This is an excellent weapon. Yes, it's a personal DPS loss. However, it buffs your party and the aura stack. This is an insanely good weapon that if you have, you should plan to keep it until T6 off of Zardoom. But a lot of us don't have that. You know what else a lot of us don't have? Fucking Talon of the Tempest. 2 sockets, 9 hit, 19 crit, and 194 spell damage. Very good weapon. A lot of people don't have this either, so we're going to disregard it again. Now, the 2 realistic ones that we could have. the two realistic ones, starting with the T4 weapon, which is, or T5 weapon, which is Fang of the Leviathan off that Leothera, Sublime, and SSC. A little bit of stam, a little bit in it, 21 crit, 221 spell damage. This is your T5. This is your immediate upgrade from your two T4 ones right here, right? Now, this is prop pally prow. So one of them is, I suggest you have to share that with them and all your mages and all your casters and shit. I suggest you go get the PvP weapon. Look at it, 225 spell damage. You get 4 more spell damage. You swap the crit for hit, which isn't the word. I mean, even if you don't need hit, that's worth the regen, right? So it's not that bad. And you don't have to. This is controlled by you. This has nothing to do with you waiting for a drop in raid. You literally have no idea how many or when these are gonna drop, right? So I would suggest getting Merciless Gladiator Spellblade. And another reason why I would suggest getting this, let's say there's me, who this is my job, right? I'm home all day long. I can farm this up. I have all day to farm this. But Tyrone doesn't. Tyrone, it works a normal 9 to 5, and he has 3 hours to play a day. Like, why? Like, I should farm this. Anybody who has time should farm this. So then when this blade does drop, Jason or Tyrone or Jerry or whoever, right? I made these names. These aren't real people's names. Aren't fighting you for this blade when they all have jobs, when you could be farming this shit up yourself. So if you're already PvPing, if you have the time, just go farm this up. It's like, it's just as good, if not better, right? Don't worry about it. It frees up a slot. Nobody has to fight. It's more personal DPS for you. It's more personal DPS for your raid. And it's one less person that needs a weapon, okay? Offhands, motherfucking offhands. The new offhand is off of Hydros is Fathom Stone. This is 23 crit rating and this is 36 spell power. This is pretty much BiS for every spec. Fire Destro, except for Fire Destro, I'm sorry. Fire Destro, you would still use Flame Tongue Seal of 25 badges. As for these other ones, Jewel of Infinite Possibilities is if you need hit, put it on. Obviously, not a lot of times you'll ever need this because you have a blood gem you can swap in. But yeah, you can definitely use this as your offhand if you don't have an Ellie, or if you're Warlock tanking, I use it, you know, stuff like that. Orbital Soul Eater is very good if you're only UA. Now, between Orbital Soul Eater or Khadgars for Shadow Destro and Felguard, that's up to you. I have always preferred Khadgars because this is straight shadow damage, and you do a lot of immolate fire damage too, so immolates your flags or stuff like that. So for that reason, I suggest Khadgars. But yeah, Fathom Stone is ult BiS. Just use whatever. I mean, Fire Destro use Flame Tongue. The other specs just use whatever you have until you get to that Fathom Stone. All right, last but not least, the wands. All right, Wand of the Forgotten Star is the new wand. It's the only one you need to worry about. It is 11 hit, 14 crit, and 23 spell damage. This is the only one in the game you need to worry about. Use whatever wand you have until then. Obviously, Orion wand if you need hit. The other ones if you don't need hit. As simple as that, boys. Nothing much to go there. Use whatever wand you have until you get it. Guys, and that's it. Okay? That's it. Thanks for watching. Like, follow, subscribe for more content. And go ahead and head over to twitch.tv/CrixGaming_, please. And thank you. I actually am taking a week off from streaming because I'm going to 10 days to be exact. And I'm going to just spam YouTube videos. So you guys will get something from me every other day, all related to T5 stuff. I've got some of it done already. And see you on the next one. Peace.